Granny's Place. Take the time and space to give yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above. Oh, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's Place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense. I'm Sweet Baby James, and I'm here to introduce you to Granny Rocks, and also to tonight's theme. No more demonization. Aren't we more likely to resent people that we don't understand? What can we do about it? Well, let's ask Granny. Granny, what do you think?
I think that today is Sweet Baby James' birthday.
Thank you, that's very sweet.
So, happy birthday, Sweet Baby James. So I want everybody in the audience to say, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Sweet Baby James, happy birthday to you.
Thank you, baby.
Happy birthday. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so are you...
That would make it Happy Dirge Day.
Yeah, that's a happy Dirge Day to you. So what about, which birthday is it? Are you telling, or are you going to be forever 39? Huh?
I'm going to be coy.
He's going to be coy. I thought that was a fish, James. No, this is not pre-rehearsed. Nothing on Granny's Place is ever pre-rehearsed. So no, we're not looking at that teleprompter telling us, make a joke now, and this is the joke. So that's why it's not funny, right? Okay, anyway, you're going to be coy. All right, so I'm not going to be coy. Our question is, what the hell is our question?
No more demonization.
No, oh yes, so I wanted to start with the question of, what is demonization, huh? So, it's a demon, right?
We make other people the bad guy.
Into demons. Demons. Not just bad really guys, but really demons. And, that probably comes from religion. Certain Christian religions, and maybe other religions too. I don't remember.
Voodoo. Voodoo.
Maybe there were demons in Judaism or in Islam. I don't know. Hinduism. Probably. It's like the parts of ourselves that we don't like, we call demons. We don't want to own that these are part of us. Oh no, these are demons. Oh yes. The reason that I raped that 5-year-old is because that demon took me over and made me do it. Isn't that right?
The devil made me do it.
The devil made me do it. So I think demonization...
Tell that to the judge.
...is... probably someone has. Sometime. So, anyway. It's like... Me? I would never have done that. So it's the same thing when we project it on somebody else. We're saying... They are like demons. They're not even like humans, like us. You know what the trouble is? I'm going to give you one guess. They're just like us.
Oh no!
We are demonizing our very human qualities that we don't care for if somebody points them out. But we cherish them secretly because we don't do anything about them. So don't you think that's an indication that we really don't dislike them that much? So, oh my God, so are we confused already? We're demonizing people for being just like us, and yet we wouldn't say that we're demonized, that we are demons. We're saying we are justified.
Yeah.
Justified. Ooh, justified.
It's so self-righteous to stand in judgment, don't you think?
I do. I do indeed. Oh, I'm so justified. My favorite habit, self-justification. Okay.
Oh, I go there often.
So
Just while you're pointing at me, I might as well confess.
well, I mean, let me say, one of the reasons that I'm really happy that God created Sweet Baby James on May
15th.
but today isn't your birthday, James. Yesterday was your birthday. This is May 16th. We're celebrating on the wrong day. Oh no, I've done it again. I've messed up. Anyway, the reason that God made...
I usually like to celebrate my birthday more than one day.
Well, that's right. It's true. So anyway, this is the birthday celebration. So why am I happy that God made James? Well, for many, many reasons, but not least of which is that I can always blame him. Now, what does this have to do with what, right? I mean, am I just going to babble this whole show? The question is, why would we demonize? Why would we project a non-human quality to something that we all do? And of course, I mean, it's already self-evident in the question because we don't want to admit that we do the same kinds of things. But there's so much more even to it. It's like, if we admitted that this was a human quality, that would make it understandable. We don't want to make people's negative qualities that we think are negative understandable, do we?
No.
No. I mean, what would happen to our whole universe if certain politicians whose names I will not repeat were understandable?
Ooh.
We couldn't hate them. We couldn't demonize them. We couldn't ignore them. That's what I try to do. It's like, don't exist. Oh no, not in my universe. Well, anyway, so that's important. But it's not just politics. So I really want to tell you that this thing about not wanting to understand is like a huge topic. Did you see that? I could almost raise my left arm. For those of you who have been watching the show, I broke my left arm 8 weeks ago. At least I can sort of move it around the piano. I can't do this yet. May never be able to, but whatever. Okay. So if we said it was understandable, we'd have to try to figure it out and try to understand it. And would we want to do that?
Nah.
Oh, no. Because we'd much rather have our reactions and dwell in them. The Lord dwelleth in resentment. No, the Lord isn't supposed to dwelleth in resentment. We're not supposed to dwelleth in resentment. We're supposed to dwelleth in forgiveness. But supposing I don't want to forgive because I hate your guts and you've hurt my feelings, or you're doing bad things to people that I care about, I am not going to go there. Forget about forgive. I don't even want to understand. Understanding is such a pain in the butt. I mean, it just gets in the way of everything. Right? All the good things of life, like self-righteousness.
Well, life is so much simpler if you could just judge and hit and run.
That is so true. That is so incredibly true. So, let's take a deeper look at this. I'm going to give you an example that is embarrassing. So, here I've been talking about political figures. Oh, and I want to say one more thing about political things. All right. How many people have died in Gaza because the United States moved its embassy to Jerusalem? A lot of people. Now, why would we do that so thoughtlessly? I mean, okay, let's say there's some reason to do that. Making our allies happy, certain allies. But are we thinking of the consequences of that move before we do it? Like, are people going to be upset? Oh, no. They won't be upset. Certainly not.
We knew people were going to be upset.
We knew people were going to be upset.
Big
But
time.
I mean, those aren't our neighbors. They're not our children. That's not us. I mean, so what if a whole bunch of people in Gaza are dead? I mean, they protest. That's their fault. If they weren't protesting, they wouldn't be dead. obviously. And so some people have no desire whatsoever to understand the position of the people in Gaza. Well, how many people in Gaza want to understand the feelings of the Israelis? It's pathetic how we are and how we run our world. How much do we want to disregard the feelings, thoughts, and history of everybody but us? So, of course, you can agree with that. But what about when it comes down to me? Maybe not so easy. But I had an amazing epiphany just the other day. An epiphany. An epiphany. So, some of you don't know what epiphany means. So, do I care that you don't know what epiphany means? I do care.
Why don't you explain it?
Well, I don't know. Epiphany is like you suddenly wake up and you realize something that is like so obvious I should have known it yesterday. But it's like, oh my God.
Or it's a new realization that you'd never had before.
Exactly. I said, oh my God, instead of, oh my God. I hope that doesn't mean that I'm now making humans into gods. I don't know. But yes, something that I realized, well, see, there is a person in my life, and you may identify with this, who doesn't appreciate me. Someone who doesn't appreciate me as wonderful as I am, I mean, doesn't even care, much less appreciate. Is there anybody in your life who you feel does not appreciate you? Well, okay, so here's the epiphany, right? So I have been feeling resentful, angry, disgusted, judgmental, negative. Do I need go on?
No.
And not only that, I resent anybody who that person does appreciate. I mean, because just if the person was just totally not appreciative, that would be one thing. But if they appreciate her, but they don't appreciate me, that makes it an affront. I mean, a true affront. So then I say, okay, I'm trying to be understanding. Okay, I get it. She's a self-centered B. You know what B stands for. So now I understand, right? There's nothing more to it. I've gotten my epiphany right. I understand. She's just a self-centered bee. Okay. Maybe that's not quite what I mean by understanding. Well, so all of a sudden, I realized that the problem isn't that she's a self-centered bee, which she is, of course. But the problem is that she's an insecure child. Unlike me, who's an insecure old lady, who's also a child, because she isn't a child either, not biologically, but we're all kind of children when it comes to certain things. And I realized that she's just feeling lousy about herself. And she doesn't want to admire me or a lot of other people because it just brings to her awareness her pain about her own life, right? And what do you think happened when I realized that? Oh my God, I couldn't hold on to that resentment anymore. I tried. I really tried. I tried so hard. Actually, to tell you the truth, I didn't even try to hold on to the resentment. It was just more fun to say that I did because it just disappeared. It's like, oh, poor thing. I'm not going to make her my best friend, you know. I'm not going to spend my retirement on her. But suddenly I understood her behavior. So, I mean, do you get this? Before, I thought it was about, well, see, first it's about me. I really am no good, untalented, a poor whatever it is, poor friend, whatever, right? And so then I walk around feeling like lousy about myself. Oh, that doesn't feel good. so that then immediately thereafter I have to go feel lousy about her, and I call it understanding, but it's really just another form of judgment. Oh yes. How many times have you done that? It's like, oh, I understand him. He was just an only child, and therefore he's selfish. That explains everything. So, that may be the explanation, but there are times when that really is not the explanation. But I've got that down pat because I have my explanations that explain everything. But if I went a little bit deeper, and actually it wasn't that hard to do. It was something that I felt. I was actually observing her instead of just being angry. And I could feel it. I could feel that she was in pain about herself. And I just understood it. And the minute I did, the truth is, that feeling went away. Again, it doesn't mean she's going to ever be my best friend, but that feeling went away. And why is this important? Guys, think about it. Think about the people in your life that you resent. And you don't really understand what's motivating them. See, this is the topic today, is we have a tendency to resent what we don't understand. And that was a perfect example. Yes, when I understood her, I didn't resent her. I might avoid her, but I didn't resent her. And this is true of so many things. It's like we're angry at different ethnic groups. We are angry at our parents. Oh my God. How many people 20, 30 years later, when they become parents, say, oh my God, now I understand my mother. Because before we couldn't, because we were too busy looking at everything from our own lens, and we had it all figured out. My mother is just a bitch. So, now I'm a mother, and I know how it feels. Doesn't mean my mother wasn't a bitch, right? But she's understandably a bitch. And then suddenly I feel different. Oh, I want you to try this with me. Think about somebody that you resent and get honest and say, what could really be going on with that person? And see if your intuition, that airy-fairy part of you. So I want us to do this as it's an exercise right now.
Yeah.
So think of somebody that you resent and ask yourself, what's going on here? What is it that you resent? Why? And what could possibly explain their behavior? So give yourself a minute while we go real metaphysical on ourselves here.
Yeah, I have mine already.
You do? Let's give the audience another minute.
Okay.
Just take a deep breath and relax. Because when we relax, we tend to be less defensive. You got your person. Are you sure it's the right person? Did you pick an easy one, or did you pick an important one? How many explanations have you already given for that person's behavior? Take a deep breath. Now go into their hearts. See them in a situation where they behave in these ways that you don't like. And try to connect to them like your heart. You know what I mean? What are they feeling right there in this moment? See, the person that I was talking about was feeling shame. Just shame. And that person had disappeared emotionally because they were feeling shame. Now, have you got yours now, Jamesy?
Yes. I'm not going to use my old chestnut, my mother, because I've done a lot of work on that, and I have come to understand her quite a bit, and I feel much better, more at peace. But what came to mind is my father, because I've basically given him short shrift as far as really thinking about what was behind his needing to be strong towards me and the other kids and say, you do what I told you to. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to swat you, And the more I've delved into it, the more I realize that he himself felt a lot of low self-esteem because he had been corporally punished a lot by his own father. I've discovered this. And that he felt very insecure in the world and very insecure in his relationship with my mother, who turned out to be smarter, more intelligent, and he was feeling even more inferiority. And so, out of his insecurity, he was trying to be strong.
To look strong.
And so, he didn't mean to be cruel. He just felt like, well, this is what you do to be a strong parent. This is the way I learned from my own parent, my father, to be the right kind of father, But mainly it was based on his own inferiority feelings and insecurities. And
you can now identify.
And I can identify with that.
So I am that, straight out of Living with Reality, the book that is free on the internet at theinnerrevolution.org that you should read, Platform 1, Oneness, Becoming Oneness.
Yeah. I am that. I have a lot of those same kind of feelings. And I have a tendency to lash out or to be judgmental or punishing, toward others.
So is anything happening to your resentment?
It goes away.
It goes away. Now, if we could bring this into the public arena. We would actually be asking the question, why are you doing that? And we'd want to know the answer. Now, do we really want to know the answer, generally speaking? No. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Why do I want to go? Because, first of all, I can't be resentful anymore. I can't feel superior. And those two things alone are enough reason to put the kibosh on that whole question. So, that's one thing. I don't want to give up resentment. And the other thing is, I might have to rethink, reframe, redo, consider other options. I don't want to do that. Do I want to? I've got it all sorted out. I'm just going to resent them and cut them out of my life, and it's all over, and the pain will go away, and I will never have to feel pain about that person or situation again because I have demonized them, and so they are now non-human, non-existent. No more pain. No more pain. No more.
But the pain lives on. It hasn't been resolved.
Oh, no. The pain lives on. The pain lives on in my heart. Is it worth it?
If you don't deal with it, the pain just keeps on hurting.
See, what I want you to get from this show is to really take it on. Take it like we do every week. We take on something, right? Let's take this one on. When I had that realization about that person and I let go of my resentment, I felt so much happier. We think that we're going to lose something when we lose our resentment. We feel like we're going to lose our power. We feel like we're going to lose our being like not going to be hurt anymore. We feel like we're going to lose our superiority. And you can think of many other things that you fear that you would lose if you stopped taking that stance. But actually, all you do is gain. Gain relaxation. It doesn't mean that we don't go out and fight the good fight, but it means that we'll do it in a different way. We'll try to understand. That'll make us smarter. Right, if I understand what the problem is, I might be able to help. Or I can at least not be so much of an emotional victim. It's a win-win situation, and yet we don't do it. We haven't been taught to do it. We haven't seen it. Nobody's telling us to do it. I mean, in fact, people are encouraging us to get more and more pissed and resentful. So now I want to say something about you who are engaged in relationships. We have a relationship group at theinnerrevolution.org that meets and has workshops and has phone meetings, and it's just a wonderful group. And this whole topic came up in one of those relationship groups because we looked at some of the couples, particularly, and we asked the question, do you feel like the other person isn't doing their share? And we realized that the reason is because we were not disclosing, that they were not disclosing. So for example, I call up my real estate agent and she doesn't call me back for 5 hours and I don't know that she's in the emergency room having a miscarriage, right? So I'm all resentful, right? Because I don't understand. Well, the same thing happens in relationships. We're always thinking that the other person is withholding. Like, oh my God, my real estate agent doesn't care about me. She is withholding from me. She's busy making money with other people. Well, maybe she is. But maybe she's doing that because she's just had this horrendous bill in the emergency room. I mean, who knows what's really going on? Or maybe she does prefer these other people because they flatter her. Or maybe. But so much in relationships, we assume the other person is slacking and isn't doing their fair share because they're not telling us what's really going on with them. And when we saw that, I realized that that is something that permeates life. And you see how this all comes together, that whether we're talking about a political situation, a friendship, a work situation, even a mate. When we don't really understand, we are more likely to judge. And if we don't disclose what's going on with us, guys, we're more likely to be judged. So if we want to stop judging, let's start looking. And if we want to be less judged by others, let's start disclosing. The reason that I didn't do that is that I can't read, and I've been hiding that for decades. Right? If we weren't so full of shame ourselves, we'd be more honest with ourselves, and there would be less judgment in our world. Come join us at Granny's Kitchen at 7:15 Pacific time. All the instructions are in the post. Come and join us and be in on a great discussion about this very topic. We love you.
Sayonara. See you soon.